So, business to business sales is not merely about storytelling, it's about creating the right business narrative, fueled by the right improvement and outcome metrics. It's about creating a story that aligns with your customer's emotion and intelligence. If you're serious about driving deal velocity, you must master telling a value story in the language of your decision maker. You must be able to bridge the perception gap across all personas and business units that your product or solution touches. Let me show you what this looks like. So, what I've got up here now is really the output of sales leverage, right? So, after you've gathered all of your needs analysis, your workflow, your quantitative data, your performance data, this is what it spits out. You take all of that information, drop it into AI, and it produces a business case that you have the autonomy to put into your own company brand, company templates, or whatever. I just chose to put it into the sales leverage template just to show you what this looks like. So keep in mind, this business case is designed to show C-level executives what they may not know from like a tactical workflow operational level, like what's really going on under the hood, right? Of course, they know they've got performance data, they've got metrics, they've got all that stuff, right? They've got analytics and dashboards and all that stuff. But what they don't have sometimes, or what they're blind to, is the how behind it. Like, how did we get to 9% revenue growth or loss? Like, whatever that number is, like, what's driving the final metric, right? And so sales leverage helps to bridge that gap across all domains. And I'm going to show you kind of what that looks like. And I don't know how many of you actually do business case summaries like this. But again, you always want to, and again, this is what sales leverage helps you write, right? This is the narrative. This is the story that's going to help you win more business and help you win it faster. Okay. So it'll help you create your executive summary. Okay. Tells who the company is, what industry they play in, what their priorities are, right? Look at the second line. The organization's stated strategic priorities are revenue growth, market share expansion, and operational efficiency. This is taken directly from their news, their LinkedIn feed. Like it took the aggregate and synthesized it this way. Okay. Some of the challenges are they're increasingly constrained by manual, fragmented quality processes that introduce unnecessary cost, risk, and cycle time drag across the manufacturing workflow. Okay. The following slides identify hidden opportunity costs. That's the key. Your stakeholders are very bright. They're very smart. They're very intelligent. They have a ton of experience. They know their business better than you do. However, there may be some hidden areas that they're not looking at because they're so used to seeing their business from one lens every day, right? As a sales consultant, again, it's your job to show them what they can't see on their own, right? And so it says, again, following slides identify hidden opportunity costs buried within each and every stage of the internal operational process. Okay. So sales leverage helps you come up with this type of insight. Okay. We do basically a workflow SWOT analysis based on business process stage and, how long each stage takes and how many people do it and so on and so forth. And I'm going to get into that in just a second, but look at this output. This is what executives care about. That top line, right? They got 1.247 in annual workflow cost, just workflow cost, right? They may look at operational expense, but how much of it is tied to workflow process? That's what they're not able to analyze very well, but sales leverage does this for you. I've worked across pretty much every industry and domain or sold to every industry and domain you can think of. Every single one of them has workflows. Everyone has processes. They can all be quantified and measured, and they all have a cost. That's the hidden gem that sales leverage helps bring to the table. Okay. Line two, a clear opportunity cost that can reduce that 1.2 million to 726,000, a 520K in annual savings, right? And then look at the bottom, achieve payback inside of 18 to 24 months, aligned to internal expectations. Those are the things that executives, that's the language you want to speak to an executive. It's not about speeds and fees, guys. Now look here, here's a detailed workflow analysis. We looked at every step in their workflow process. They have a name, right? So step one is contract order entry. You know, how many people does that take? How long does it take? What does that cost in the business in step one? What does that cost the business in step two? So on and so forth. Every single step of that process can be measured and it has an associated cost with an aggregate 726 after using, you know, whatever the solution that we're selling them, right? In this scenario, the solution we're selling is a quality management solution. Okay. So that's going to reduce them to from the 1.2 million before to 726. But it shows you every area. You can unpack each one of these granularly, and you can also make changes and edits if you want to, right? But I have never seen this model fail. I have never shown this to an executive team and they gave me a lot of pushback, right? We're typically, you know, 10, 5 to 10% accurate on a lot of this stuff. So again, but it gives you a starting point. It's like saying, hey, I want to improve efficiency. Well, or increase efficiency. Well, where are you today? You know, you can't improve something if you don't know if you don't understand today's starting point. And so that's what sales leverage allows you to do. It helps it allows you to have that conversation with their customer about where you are today versus where they want to be in the future. That's like me saying, well, I want to lose 20 pounds. Okay, well, the next question you're going to ask me is, well, how much do you weigh today? Right? These are things that sellers are not asking their customers, right? It gives you a summary of the quantitative business plan. Again, you saw some of that in the previous video more than likely, but this visualizes it for you. Okay. Current state, cost and efficiency baselines, gives you further explanation around that. And then here you can break it down in this format as well. Total workflow cost, operational efficiency, risk exposure, cycle time, compliance and readiness. See all those things on the left-hand side. Where is it today, right? What is the current state? What's the improvement? And what's the delta? These are the conversations that you need to be having with executives. If you're going to sell them, you know, big ticket solution, whether it's a product, service, software, whatever, they need to understand how this maps to the bottom line. They are bottom line focused. And the closer you can show them the correlate of your solution to that bottom line, you're going to give yourself a huge, huge advantage. And then you've got your final ROI financial model, very simple. Again, you can throw this into your template, your branding, whatever, super, super easy. Conservative 3-year value model, annual savings, 3-year risk avoidance estimates, and then the overall quantified business value, 6.3 million. These are the type of numbers that are going to get executives' attention. These are the type of numbers that are going to help make your deal champion more effective, because you and I both know that you're not going to always be in front of that decision maker. You're not going to be in every room. So your job is to equip your champion, whoever you're working with, give them the model, give them the language, give them the narrative to sell on your behalf. That's never going to go away. Okay. So final questions for you. Okay. Do you want to stop discounting your deals because of value misalignment? I bet I know the answer to that. Do you want to start enabling your deal champions with fuel instead of fluff? Do you want to be viewed as a true consultant in the modern era? If the answers are yes to those questions, then you must be able to unmask these blind spots for your customers. You must be able to show them what they can't see on their own. And I'm telling you now, Sales Leverage AI is the only platform that makes that possible in a simple and repeatable way. What I've done here is started with the output, and now in other videos, we're going to kind of reverse engineer how do we get to this point. But I think this piece alone is super exciting. This is the output. This is the end goal. This is what you want to get to. You want to be able to present to your decision maker something that is compelling and that will truly accelerate deal velocity without discounting.